What's up with that?
Hard times spreading just like the flu. You know I caught it just like you. Prices going up, the dollar's down. You got me falling.
Rap music may have been around for years, but the first rap music festival was held only recently at this armory in Harlem. Thousands came here to dance and prance, talk and gawk, and rap with the rappers.
This is the Mean Machine, a father-son rapping team.
Something, right? Just to hear, like to hear these stories, you know what I mean? To hear these stories and to hear the backstory, like behind the scenes of everything that went on. We just hear the music, we enjoy the music, and I said, man, it was really hard to find info on you. It's very vague. So and the funny thing is that you're, you know, when they talk about the group, you're the one who comes off the most significant. There's more on you than anybody else, and there's not even a lot on you.
Well,
you know?
and I think that's because even though we were all Puerto Ricans there, I was the only one that could speak Spanish or not I could hold a sentence. You know what I mean? Like I could have a conversation with somebody, but the other, and plus I was in school in Puerto Rico for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. The other guys, they were raised in New York, and so they knew words, but if I spoke to them in Spanish, they could understand, but they would have to respond to me in English, maybe throw 1 or 2 words, you know, so they weren't fluent in Spanish. And that's why, like, on the record, when you hear the part about Wepa, wepa, ahí nada más, that was accidental, okay? Because it was supposed to be 1 wepa and then ahí nada más. But because they're not fluent in their Spanish, they came off at the wrong time. So when I said wepa, they said wepa after me. So that's why, but it worked out because that worked out better. You know, the wepa, wepa, ahí nada más.
Yeah, so
I can't even imagine hearing it without the second weapon. Like, it's like,
no, me neither now.
Yeah. You know, you got to think about it. Like, it was like, it's like, you know, I believe in God and I believe in, you know, things happening. Like, and I think, you know, God had a path for you guys and things were like put in place and they just didn't happen. You know what I mean? Because if you really look at it, we weren't really being looked at to record music, especially hip hop, and for you guys to get into that platform and the biggest label at the time that was doing it, it's a humongous story that has not been really documented. And if I ever have the power to bring a documentary or to put it on film, I would do anything in my power to make that happen.
That's a great segue. I know that there is they're shooting a documentary, right, called Spoken Voices. Did you do your interview already?
No. That was an interview with Spoken Voices.
Oh, so that wasn't a documentary.
No. The documentary series is called De La Calle. It's for MTV.
Oh, nice.
MTV Paramount. So right now they're in other Latin countries filming the pioneers of the music, and not necessarily just hip hop, but pioneers like say in different musics or Latinos that are in that music. Yeah. And so I think hip hop is going to be the first episode or 2 episodes, whatever. And so we're going to be on that first episode.
Awesome.
And it's me, Whipper Whip,
Ruby D,
Charlie Chase, and Grand Wizard Theodore.
Okay.
And so us 4 will be on that first episode.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be following you so I can repost it when I see.
Do you know when they're gonna drop that?
Well, they're gonna drop it in 2023 because, like I said, they're still filming.
Okay.
I've been checking out. Like I could see the host, his Instagram, and I can see where they're at. Like, oh, they're in this country now. They're in that country. You know. But
big shout out to my boy Bobby Allende, the amazing, talented conguero musician, musical genius. Very good friend of mine, and he's on the check-in, and he's another pioneer with this salsa, and and every time I see him, man, he's just a master of music. So we're here with Mr. Schick. So you wanna Val? I don't know. Can you see Val? Cause I can't see him. I see a green screen.
Yeah, I can see everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, I just because I know you're recording it. I want to be able to
That's fine.
it's recording right. Okay, so now you guys get into the label. Y'all drop this single. Take us from there to those things of how it went from there to how long was that tenure and when did it end and did it ever end?
Yeah. Well, once then after recording, went back on tour again, and we was on that Sugar Hill Review, so we went all over. But just to not drag the story out so long, so we shared a bus like with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the Sequence, and us shared a bus on tour, and then Sugar Hill Gang and the Sugar Hill Band and whoever else. We were on different buses, but we were always with Sequence and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five on tour. So it was pretty cool because, here we were all from the streets, performing in the streets. Now, all of a sudden, we're on these stages performing in coliseums and auditoriums and things like that. And so for me, it was like, I was a fan too. So every group that performed, I'm backstage, peeping from the sideline, checking out their shows. Oh, that was cool, checking out the audience's reaction. And it's the only difference is like, from a street show and an official show is that you might have someone on the sideline giving you signals like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, cut. Or if something happens and the next group has to a little delay, you'll see them go like this, like keep going. So you learn a lot of the background stuff. That was pretty cool.
So question, can you share with us, do you know what happened to some of the other members of the group?
Yeah. Also, one other thing, we used to take Julio's son in the summer with us. He was 10 years old when we were on tour, and we'd take him with us and we'd let him perform. And
really?
So he was like our little, I wouldn't say gimmick because he was a little rapper, but we take him just to see the crowd go wild because they'd see a little kid rapping, back then. And so he ended up passing away, if I'm not mistaken. I was corrected the other day by his sister, and not the other day, but a while back. And I think he died at 18, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think he was talking on the phone with his girlfriend and he got hit by a stray bullet.
Oh, man.
And so he ended up passing away. And then Jimmy Mack, the youngest guy in the group, from what I heard, he died of AIDS years ago. But I haven't been able to actually verify that. There's no proof that he's alive, but I don't have proof that he's dead. So all I could go is by the word that I heard, that he died of AIDS. And then Butch Kid, which was the guy that joined the group after the singer, and he was in New York, and I can't remember if he told me he lived in Connecticut. And then Julio, he lived in Florida, then Virginia somewhere, then he was going to move again the last time I spoke to him. So that's pretty much all of them. Oh, Mr. Nice, the DJ. I heard he's in Florida. The last I spoke to him, he moved to Florida, and that was years ago we talked.
Did you think when you started this early on, did you think that 40 years later, people would be calling you up and asking you questions in the interview and having you share your story? Did you know so early on that what you're doing was so big, or you didn't, since you're in the moment, you didn't realize that?
Yeah, no. Like you said, you're in the moment, you don't realize it. You're just a kid, you're trying to have fun. And what made me think of doing it in Spanish, I don't know. It could have been your Latino pride or whatever, but at that time, I wasn't thinking I'm the first guy to do this,
Right.
or yo, I'm gonna create history. The moment that hit my head was 9 years later. I'm watching television here in South Carolina, and I'm watching MTV. You know, the beach things. What did they, Spring Fling?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know how they have the backdrops in Spring Fling?
Yeah.
I'm the one that did a few of those.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
right.
printed them here in South Carolina, and then we'd ship it to them. And so that's the only reason I would watch. So then that way, if it was one of mine, I go, oh, wow, cool, it made it. But here comes a cat ready to rap. And I thought, okay, I'll check it out. And the guy starts rapping, and then he goes from English to Spanish to English to Spanish. And so then it caught me off guard, because before that, I haven't heard anybody do it in Spanish. And that's when I realized I was the first guy to do this.
Yeah.
You know, at that very moment, I was like, yo, I was the first guy to do this. And this guy picked up the torch, and now he's going to keep it going. And that was Mellow Man Ace.
Mellow Man Ace. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So little did I know that he was a fan, and that it was me that inspired him
Wow.
to do it when they got here to the U.S. from Cuba, and he first heard me. You know, he was like, I want to be like that dude.
Wow.
I want to be like that guy.
Yeah.
So then he did an interview with Gully TV.
Okay.
Dusty Vision, right? And he did an interview with his buddy there, and he mentioned me as his inspiration, you know. And so then one of my younger cousins seen that, and just kind of hashtagged them, like, you know, thanks for, you know, bigging up my cousin Danny Rivera, Mr.Schick, whatever. So then little did any of us know that he was trying to find me for over 30-something years. Whenever he would go to New York or whatever, he'd always ask about me. And so nobody could tell him where I was, because when I disappeared, and I just moved here. I didn't tell anybody. You know, I moved to South Carolina. And so then he sees what my cousin wrote. And so then he right away responded to my cousin, you know, you're not BSing me, right? You're really Mr. Schick's cousin, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'm Mr. Schick's cousin. I could, you know, like connect you with him if you want. And then he was like, if I want, yeah, you know. And so then let me see if he'll let me give you his number. So then my cousin called me up and asked me if he could give him my number. And I said, yeah, give it to him. So then he calls me up and we talked for about a half hour. Really cool dude, man. And he was just, you know, he questioned me in the beginning just to make sure I was the right guy, asking me certain questions that only I would know, you know.
Yeah.
And so we talked, and he was just thanking me, man. He's like, you don't understand, man. Even though we didn't know each other, that I was his mentor, you know, that he studied me, and that he wanted to thank me. Because of me, he never had to work a day in his life. And he wanted to thank me in person if I'm ever in California,
Wow.
you know, to let him know, and he'll drive to wherever I'm at. And just so happens, like, you know, with my job, I travel from California to New York and every state in between, doing large format advertisement graphics, right? And so I told him, hey, you know, it's funny because in about 3 weeks, I'm going to be in Cali. I'm going to be in Palm Springs over there, not too far from Coachella. And he goes, well, just shoot me the address when you get there, and I'll come down and see you to thank you in person, man. And
that's crazy.
When I got there, you know, send him the address, told him I'm down, and we set up a day to meet, and we met. We spent a few hours together, and you know, really cool dude, man. And I ended up having a brother for life, man. You
That's
know?
some.
That's
That's
awesome,
some
man.
story.
It was a lot of love. And you know, the thing about it was, he told me this. A lot of people used to think he was the first, right? And check this out. He always said, I'm not the first. It's this guy named Schick from the Mean Machine, you know, a Puerto Rican brother that inspired me. And when I went back and checked out a lot of his interviews online, he wasn't lying. He'd always mention,
Wow.
you know, and he even mentioned me in one of his songs. And I asked him, man, why do you do that? Why did you do that? You know, I thank you, man, but, you know, and he's like, you know, because he could have took the credit if he wanted to, but he was like, you know, giving you the credit, you know, like giving me the credit is not going to take any shine off of his star.
Right.
You know, so he's, you know, he goes, I believe like, you know, the old school era, you know, where, you know, you give your props to whoever it's due.
We got to pay homage.
That's very honorable of him, and very respectful. And I really I have a whole, I mean, I always loved Mellow Man Ace, but I have a whole new level of respect right now from this story. Because if you look at what you did, you inspired him, and so he inspired others. Like you see El General, and even if you go into that era, like you have Proyecto Uno, these guys were like blending tropical sounds with and reggae. And then that birthed the underground scene in Puerto Rico, which birthed reggaeton.
And look, like you got like people like D Squad in Puerto Rico, whatever. Inspired. The first person he ever heard was me. You know, was what he was saying in one of his interviews, Don Figaro, and there's a lot, man, that I wasn't aware of. But, you know, you wouldn't be talking to me right now if it wasn't for Mellow Man Ace and my cousin
I don't know about that.
No, what I'm saying is nobody found me.
I know. You're right.
Because of my cousin, his name was Julio Cotto Rivera, because of him.
Oh, shout out to him. Shout out to him.
Because of him doing
the interview. That was the interview that I found. When I started looking, the one on Dusty TV was the one that I found that actually highlighted you. And that's the only one. I found one, but that was the only one that was like really kind of in depth. And I was able to find you on IG and everything through that Dusty. And he even reached out to me because I left a comment. And then people commented back on me. And that video has been, believe it or not, that video has been circulating with all the drama and everything. All of these videos are circulating in the algorithms because of the way they're tagged. So his video came up. It's been recorded years ago, but it came up because of all the conversations. Now YouTube is promoting that video, which is crazy, you know? So you're right. That just it talks back to where you said I wouldn't have found you if it wasn't for them. Let me ask you a question. Like, do you come to New York at all?
Well, it's been 40 years since I went back to New York.
Wow.
You know, I went a few times before that, but it was for work. And I was working at night while nobody was in the buildings or whatever. And then I would sleep in the day. So I never counted that because I didn't see anything. You know, it was just work and sleep. But to go there and be there, it was 40 years to film De La Calle, that documentary series. They brought us all to New York. And
wow.
And then the thing is, you know, that, like I said, I was shocked, man, because New York's changed a lot.
Oh,
man.
big time.
When I got there, I was like, holy cow, you know, I missed the fun and all that, but I was like, I'm glad I'm out of here. Because, I mean, it looked rowdier. It looked dirtier. It just, I don't know, man.
It's a lot more.
I wasn't used to it anymore, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of development. But if you do come back, or I don't know, if you ever come back for something else and you get in touch, let us know, because I would love to do an in-studio series with you, with our videographer, and really make it official. Like this, I'm thankful because we can communicate with people in other states through the live, but there's nothing like the in-house studio production where we can sit down. So if you're coming to New York or if you're doing anywhere, just get in touch and we can set it up because we got great locations that we film at.
All right.
Well, I want to personally give you an invite. We have our own float every year on the Puerto Rican Day Parade, bro.
Right.
And if there any time that you will come, it's every second, you already know the parade is the second Sunday in June. And you have an open invitation to be with us on that float, bro.
That float.
For real.
I appreciate that.
And you can you make banners. We can set up your own banner and everything like that. And
yes.
The funny thing is, I missed the Puerto Rican Day Parade this year, but check it out, because I got there when it was over. I got there the same day the Puerto Rican Day Parade was happening, but I got there late to film the documentary series De La Calle. And so I think Whip and whoever else, I think they made it, but I couldn't because I think their plane rolled in earlier.
Well, you got a year in advance. Dave's giving you an invitation a year in advance to set it up.
Yeah.
And you can share room on the float, and we definitely will acknowledge you on the float and uplift you. You know what I'm saying, for being a pioneer. You know what I mean, the game.
Hey, but I was telling them that I saw my daughter. She commented on the last
live
video, on the last live, because she's in South Africa, so she was watching from South Africa.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So, I guess, I'm pretty sure there could be another part 2 to this.
Yeah.
More parts. So let's leave it here.
Yeah.
And so we could plan something, you could gather some more thoughts, and us too. We could do a part 2 because I want to take it from when everything stopped and forward.
Yeah.
But I got my kid too, so he's getting up now too.
We definitely got enough.
And it's like I said, man, it's been an honor. It is an honor that you're alive and you're well and you have an amazing family, career, and that your story is being brought back to life, because it has to be. This is what we always pride ourselves in, especially these stories that they go under the rug. And your story's a big one, man. It's not you was on a major label that might have been the first real hip hop label to put out these records and touring the world, and nobody know that it was Puerto Ricans. It was Boricuas, And so we're gonna continue to build, man, because I know there's a lot of stuff, that, and people probably gonna holler at me like, yo, about him, and if there's any opportunities, I'll just direct them to you,
Yeah.
Because you got to get your flowers, brother. You the one that, to me, you the first one that did it in Spanish. Yeah. And I heard that shit live.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, that the Spanish that I did there was shortened because it was actually longer, but this was like the test pilot.
Right.
So they kept, in other words, I was kind of made to crunch it up a little bit, like shorten it up.
Yeah.
But
it was
worked out.
Listen, origination. I always tell people, if you want to be successful in life, don't compete, just create. And if you're creating your own way, people are going to follow it. And that goes back to what you did. You created your own lane. You were like, well, I'll add this to the game. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is this, even though I was the first to record Spanish rap, who knows who else it inspired in their language, because it could have been somebody else, and this guy did it in this language. Yeah. So why can't I do it in mine?
And you see, hip hop is a global thing now. It's everywhere. It's every other country have their own market, their own artists that they're promoting their own markets. So we definitely got to do a part 2, man. Yeah. So let's stay in contact. I'm gonna send you all my information too.
Yeah.
We're very big in the Puerto Rican community, and right now we got a hurricane that's passing through Puerto Rico, and I'm getting messages and all that about that. So I want to stay in contact with you, and And you got friends here also, man. So
Hey, so where you guys at? What state?
I'm in the Bronx in New York still.
I'm 2 hours away. I'm in PA.
He's hiding in PA by where they duck hunt. That's where he's at.
So
I'm always
where in the
going into
Bronx?
New York.
Where in the Bronx are you?
I grew up in Morrison and 172nd. Do you remember that festival or no?
No, yeah, no, I remember.
You do?
Porque, you know, hablo en español para que mi esposa no lo oiga. Pero que
¿Tú te recuerdas de ese tiempo?
Yeah, because ahí yo conocí a una muchacha en ese
Ah,
tiempo.
okay. Mira, so I live now on Underhill between Story and the Bruckner. Not too far from there, but in a little better area.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, so let's stay in the loop, man. We appreciate you coming on, definitely. And I'll follow up with you. Maybe we can do a part 2. And also, again, just keep us in mind. If you're coming down or whatever, we would love to set up an in-studio session with you, because that would be huge. And we can go a little bit more in depth. But just thank you for taking the time on a Sunday, you know, to chop it up with us and our audience and bring that whole, which is an incredible story, bring that story to life for so many people who, you know, you inspired. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
Thank you again, man.
We got something new we want y'all to hear. So come a little closer and lend us your ears. So Mr. Schick, get you know you're cool. Show the party people you can rap like too. Huepa, huepa, ahí nada más. Les abrí las puertas a este ritmo, sí que tanto les fascina. Se lo traje en español, mi gente, para América Latina.